And on the other side, just one Entei, an energy, some switch outs, but there's plenty of those in there. And starting Manaphy against a Squawkabilly, but there is that Battle VIP pass, key to get things rolling.
All right, so here we go then. Our round 3 here at Liverpool Regionals is kicking off. Tord Reklev is starting, as Mike did say, has led that Manaphy and a Battle VIP pass. Now, one thing about that Manaphy is, Mike, that's got 70 HP, and that Pokemon cannot evolve. So that immediately is going to be a prime target for those Tachyon bits from Liam's Iron Valiant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Yoga Loop you mentioned, that is the scary prospect.
Yep.
Could at any moment really set things flying. And, of course, Entei hitting for a good amount of damage. Tord is going to have to go wide with his bench to make sure that a few Pokemon don't get knocked out and completely throw him off. So a nice wide bench will help that Entei hit the damage output it requires. And in this matchup, you really want to try and see that Gardevoir EX being used at some point to try and tank some hits, right? You want to get it out into active, maybe take out something like the Squawkabilly in a turn. So we'll see whether that's possible. But, of course, self-damaging throughout Gardevoir will mean that everything will get in range of a Tachyon Bits or a Yoga Loop. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see.
And one thing I'm just debating here is, does Tord even know he's playing against Iron Valiant? Because I don't know, you know, that Mew, again, that's a 60 HP Pokemon that cannot evolve, you know.
Very true.
That's going to be an easy prime targets there for Tachyon Bits. And you could KO that Mew with 3 Tachyon Bits activation. You know, it's not outside the possibility here, folks, that Liam can just go Tachyon Bits, Tachyon Bits, Tachyon Bits, and that Mew will be KO'd before he's even attacked. So we'll have to keep that in mind. So we've mentioned Medicham V a little bit there, as Tord does pay retreat into the Mew, and then going to use that Mysterious Tail ability. Look at the top 6 cards and grab any item. So let's actually talk about that Medicham V. So Medicham V has the attack Yoga Loop for a DTE attachment. It lets you put 2 damage counters. Oh, is there even a target off that Mysterious Tail? Which is a counter catcher, I think. So I think we might see a fail on that. Yeah, so Yoga Loop lets you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. But Mike, if those 2 damage counters KO it, what happens?
Those 2 damage counters will allow you to restart your turn and go again.
Ooh.
Which is a huge benefit when it comes into this matchup, because it means you can start taking lots of prize cards in a row. And I think that right now is the biggest worry, is at some point there's going to be a turn where Liam's going to wipe as much of Tord's board as possible. But as you can see, Tord has set up nice and wide, so we'll likely be able to start evolving things up and get towards the Gardevoir at some point. And I think another thing to mention is disruption is such a big thing. Iron Valiant doesn't really have any inbuilt engine except for that fleet-footed and all of the supporters that are in it. So early turns, yes, it can get going with the Squawkabilly, but as the game goes on, Iono is going to be that much more effective.
Oh, wow, and Liam is immediately off to the races there. Has the escape route to push the Manaphy into the active. So we are going to see that first use there of Tachyon Bits. 2 damage counters, one of Tord's Pokemon. Let's see where Liam chooses to... Oh, he put them on the rocks, I should say. And switch, we're going to see another... Oh, my goodness. Oh, but he's opting to spread. So that would imagine that we're not going to see a Yoga Loop this turn. Yeah,
and interesting with the spreading. So Tord isn't playing the Cresselia. So,
oh, good spot.
Yeah, Cresselia would often be a useful Pokemon if there was a lot of damage spread around, as almost like a healing card.
Yeah.
But not appearing in Tord's list, not needing it in Tord's eyes for the matchups where it's been useful. But it does mean in this particular case you couldn't sneak that one in at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting because that Cresselia is really useful into like the Giratina matchups as well. So I wonder why Tord has opted not to play it. As Liam does have a Battle VIP pass and find himself another Iron Valiant. I think he was doing a little price check while he was there as well. Medicham is obviously in the deck, so... Oh, Mike, this is going to be a high-octane game.
So with the Medicham going down, that now sets up potential for a Yoga Loop in the future. And for Tord, he can start thinking, Jirachi. If I get the Jirachi down and time it well, that'll take away the Yoga Loop. It doesn't stop the Tachyon Bits, but it will stop the ability to get that high-power turn of the Yoga Loop.
Yeah, you know, like you said, that Jirachi isn't something that's, you know, what's the word? It's not guaranteed to be in every Gardevoir deck, but what it does do is stop your opponent's basic Pokemon from placing damage counters on your benched Pokemon. So that would stop the Yoga Loop right in its tracks. As we do see a retreat there into another activation of Tachyon Bits. We'll see it's going to go on one of the rolls. One of those rolls now has 4 damage counters on it.
Okay, and there we go, the research. I don't think used the Squawkabilly yet, so a really big dig going to be happening now. Might be able to get the Entei attack up. No, there was an attachment this turn. It wasn't through a Magma Basin, so it would need to be the next one through the Magma Basin, and there does seem to be all of those pieces in the hand, and that's going to be the potential for some early aggression with that Entei. The pretty much perfect start here for Liam.
Yeah, and I think we did see the Squawkabilly being used, but yeah, it's a Escape Rope as well. It's an interesting decision here. Tor doesn't want any of these Pokemon to get KO'd realistically, because you want to obviously use the Mew from Mysterious Tail, but opting to get rid of sacrifice, I should say, maybe the Rolts with damage on, because chances are it's not long going to be left in this game. Yeah,
in a weird way, that's kind of taking away the damage from that Tachyon Bits on the Rolts, because it's now technically wasted damage as that knockout comes through. Now only 2 damage on board for Tord. He now has to start thinking about aggressively evolving up, trying to get out of range of all of those Pokemon as soon as possible. Zacian comes down as well.
Yeah, fantastic card in this matchup. You know, doesn't really have to hit too high numbers, start taking KOs here. As Tord, only has an Ultra Ball there. No Level Ball, I believe. And no Curlier even. Let's see if Mysterious Tail can grab. I think we're looking for a Level Ball here, ideally.
Just something to discard maybe with the Ultra Ball.
Yeah, but if you only have one Ultra Ball, you can't find the Jirachi. Well, I mean, you could find Jirachi, but then you're not going to find any Curlier.
We can all go very quickly here. That Refinement Curlier comes out, starts some drawing, see what happens then.
There's a lot of pressure on this one use of Refinement. So Refinement lets you discard 1 card from your hand, then draw 2. Ideally, we would like to try and find more Curlier. I mean, we try and find Jirachi this turn as well. Big Refinement here for Tord. 1, 2, Level Ball.
There we go. That gets the ball rolling. So now we get the next Curlier out. Another Refinement possible. And that's going to start drawing, and then maybe we start to see that Jirachi come down. I don't even know if the Jirachi is needed this aggressively, this early, but worrying about that Yoga Loop is going to be a constant thought in the back of Tord's head.
I kind of think you do have to really play on that Yoga Loop. It could be game ending. Tord actually has an Artisan in the hand, so that can... Okay, so that at the very least can find Jirachi if Tord would like to grab it this turn. Does have other options though, looks like. Okay, not going for Jirachi this turn. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe saving it for later on when it, after some disruption. It'll be interesting to see what goes on, but is that just going to be using Roar the Sword to end the turn?
Yep, Roar the Sword, letting you search your deck for any Psychic Energy and attach it to any one of your Pokemon. I guess Tord can maybe think the Yoga Loop could be a while away, since Liam has Bench Lock, so there will be no Raging Alakazam, which he actually doesn't play, by the way, but that could be a card that he's playing. As it does go back over to Liam, finds a Forest Seal Stone, Mike, attaches it to the Medicham and a DTE, Mike.
That's a concerning sign.
It is.
If you're Tord, that means there's one likely to come off this turn, but benching that other routes was probably in reaction thinking, look, they can still get the Curlier with just Tachyon Bits, and I need to start setting up more Gardevoir down the line, maybe looking to try and get a rare Candy in a future turn. But of course, if the Yoga Loop comes off, maybe 2 Curlier could be taken out this turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's not outside of a possibility. Liam, I think, might have been looking for switching cards there. He's only found 1, I guess, and the Jet Energy as well, but I can't attach that, because I attached the DTE this turn. Liam does have the Forest Seal Stone. Unsure if he wants to use it exactly this turn. And he does play a switch, so we are going to see a Tachyon Bits activation. We're going to go on that Curlier. So if we see one more Tachyon Bits, we could see a Yoga Loop on that Curlier there, Mike.
I think has it with the Forest Seal, but otherwise not. So using that Forest Seal early would be risky, because it would put you vulnerable towards the end of the game, where you don't have access to many cards in your hand with the INOs. So just opting to take the knockout there. Could have gone for the Yoga Loop and just playing it on the safer side. And we'll see what happens now as Tord gets a bit of a turn here to start building up that board and seeing if we can stabilize outside of this early aggression of the Iron Valiant.
Yeah, real interest there. Liam opted not to go for any Yoga Loop there, because now Tord could close the door on that play with a Jirachi, but instead opting to... okay, there we go. As you Artisan here lets you grab any basic Pokemon, pop it into play, as long as it's not a rule box, as Jirachi has not got a rule box. Maybe Liam is opting, instead of going for the Yoga Loop, maybe opting to lean into the TM Devolution. It does play 2 copies of those. Lets you have a has a new attack on a Pokemon that let you de-evolve all your opponent's Pokemon, putting the highest stage back into your opponent's hand.
Yeah, that's definitely a threat. Used more so in the Charizard matchup. but
yes,
the early aggression against Gardevoir, if it doesn't happen, you can then use it as a late game option. So there is ways around this for Liam, and also the other thing is not taking too many knockouts early on saves you from the Ionos, which can be a little bit more aggressive. So keeping the Forest Seal, keeping the hand size a bit larger, definitely a safer spot to be than if you take a lot of aggression early on and have a tiny hand towards the mid to late game.
I think you're correct there. You know, opting, like you said, trying to make those Ionos not as threatening by playing the game at a slower pace. Don't mind it. As Tord does evolve into a Shining Arcana Gardevoir there, and the active is going to use that ability. Look at top, grab the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you can attach any energy you find there, and the other 2 go into your hand. So a lot of draw power there for Tord. I think he's just debating whether that Waltz was put down this turn. I don't think it was.
It was last turn, I believe.
Yeah, it was last turn, so could evolve that earlier. And this is a real interesting scenario for Liam. I wouldn't have expected to see so many evolutions in play for Tord playing against Iron Valiant.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, like this matchup is a tougher matchup, and so we're seeing an experienced player like Tord trying to navigate his way through. You know, that reversal energy is available. Doesn't currently have access to the Gardevoir EX, so won't be able to get any energy from... Well, I mean, there is one prize, actually, so that definitely makes it tougher, having one of the Gardevoir EX prize. But, yeah, it won't have access to that energy acceleration from the discard pile. So how does that look for the Shiny Arcana Gardevoir in the active? It's got one attached from a previous turn, is that?
Yeah.
So with the reverse energy, that's 4. 120, so it's not quite enough. Just 10 short.
Here we are going to see this refinement being used, though. If this does find a Gardevoir EX, Tord's off to the races. I think that was a counter catcher and a psychic energy, so there will be no Gardevoir EX this turn. A lot of rare candy, but no Gardevoir. We are going to see that reversal energy being attached. 3 psychic energy that's counting for now. Yeah,
it can knock out the Squawkabilly, so it can use the counter catcher to take that down. I think that might be the only way this turn to get a knockout. So we see the counter catcher. And, Medicham.
Oh, that hits for weakness, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, good. And that's going to remove the Forest Seal as well. I think, did Liam discard another Forest Seal? Or it got Iono to the bottom? And going to Lost Vacuum away that future booster energy capsule.
My goodness.
This is what we were saying about Gardevoir, right? It tends to slow out the gates and will have big, massive swing turns. Don't forget, Tord played an Iono this turn as well. So Liam's going to have to operate off a low hand size. Here we go, Mike. Here the game is starting.
Wow, what a turn. That's a swing turn right there without a Gardevoir EX in play.
Yeah.
And that just shows you how powerful that reversal energy can be early on. You know, sometimes you only get access to one of the Gardevoir, and if you've got reversal energy available, you don't have to put a 2-prizer in play. I mean, obviously there's the Zacian there, but you don't have to put the Gardevoir EX in play too soon and start putting damage counters in play. That's another big factor here, right?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. The reversal energy allowing your Gardevoir to swing for high damage without having the damage counters in play. It almost feels a bit unfair. If I'm playing against Gardevoir and this is happening to me, I think, oh, come on, man. You haven't even got a 2-prizer in play for me to go after, really. Like,
well, we mentioned about the draw engine of Entei, Iron Valiant, and of course, the Entei has the fleet-footed. That's one per turn, but without that, you're relying on supporters. So if an Iono comes through and disrupts you enough that you don't find any of those supporters, which it looks like is happening here for Liam, all you can do is just knock out the active. And that's going to be exactly what happens here as it goes straight back to Tord, now in the driving seat.
And I think, you know, being able to remove that Forest Seal Stern off the Medicham as well, that would have been a great get out of jail free card for Liam, right? But Tord opting to get rid of that as well, as Tord does promote that Zacian V into the active. Level ball coming down, going to search for a waltz by the look of it. And then Tord is going to go off to the... Oh, that's a Scream Tail, I should say.
Yeah, last minute switch.
Yeah, last
minute. Keeping us guessing.
I love that artwork on that Scream Tail there, by the way. Come on, and that is a gorgeous looking card. Fog Crystal, search for a basic Psychic type or Psychic Energy. And that's going to be played as well.
Yeah, you can see so many ways to get to another Gardevoir here.
I see 2 ways, Ultra Ball and the Gardevoir, right?
But then also an Iono would dig deeper, and you got the Shiny Arcana Gardevoir. You're going to be almost seeing the whole of that rest of that deck with all of the cards available. 2 refinement, find either an Iono or a Shiny Arcana Gardevoir, Ultra Ball and Gardevoir X in there.
True.
As long as you don't shuffle that deck again, it should dig all the way through.
All right, let's see what Tord does Obviously, could even use the Radiant Greninja as well,
True.
potentially. Here comes one refinement. We're going to select Gardevoir EX Might. Oh, there we go.
No digging needed,
No
straight away.
digging needed. I love that when you're playing a deck and then you hit your out first. You're like, yes, there we go. This is don't have to worry too much.
Yeah, there's not much of that deck left. And we mentioned earlier on how Charizard is a very powerful deck because the Pidgeot EX allows you to find any card you need at any given moment with that quick search. But what Gardevoir does well is it draws your whole deck at any point when you need it. And this is exactly an example of that. Towards the end of the game, once you've gone through your whole deck, you can pretty much find any resource you need and then just INO the rest of the cards back into the deck, resetting that process.
And I think if you're Liam now looking across the board, this is exactly what you wanted to avoid. All these evolution Pokemon in play, you needed to sort of win this game before it even started, realistically. And now Tord, has the Gardevoir EX in play without a rare candy even, so now Devolution doesn't even get you out of jail immediately. You have another Gardevoir in play. The Shining Arcana has been evolved in for earlier as well. It's going to get hot and heavy here as that Zacian is going to come swinging in. Psychic Embrace for the Storm Slash. KO, Mike.
Very good stuff here, and you can see that Scream Tail coming down, ready to take out the final 2 prizes of the Squawkabilly.
Yep.
No Luxurious Cape in the list, but it does allow you to hit 160 damage to the bench, and that will take out the Squawkabilly. And so that knockout there, not only does it take away one of the attackers, but it sets up the board state for game next turn. Can Liam find a way around this? There's so much to ask of him with such little in his hand available from that early INO we saw disrupting. And
this is the sort of problem when you're playing against Gardevoir, right? Is that you need to KO the active, because that Zacian, if you don't KO it, it's just going to attack again. But you kind of need to deal with the Scream Tail threat as well. You can't really deal with both at the same time, and I don't think Liam has a way of one-shotting the Gardevoir EX in his deck. So all Liam can do is just swing into the active and hope Tord does not have game next turn.
Yeah, and the Radiant Charizard, a great option in Entei Iron Valiant because it allows you to leave a Pokemon in the active that is a single prizer, so it can change that prize mapping. But with that Scream Tail, it doesn't even matter. They can play around it.
Yep.
So we'll see how these final moments pan out. So just a chorus experiment here just to find those combo pieces needed. And we'll see if there's any options available. But this shows exactly why this matchup isn't one-sided at all. It is possible for both sides, favored towards Entei Iron Valiant because they can get that early win with that early disruption. But now, early aggression, the disruption of Gardevoir coming through right in these final moments. Let's see what's possible.
It's like the longer the game goes on, the harder it is for Liam to win, as we are going to see a switch cart into Iron Valiant. We could see Tachyon Bits activation going onto that Shining Arcana Gardevoir. Interesting, if you put a lot of damage onto that Shining Arcana Gardevoir, it won't be able to swing for a lot of damage because you won't be able to attach energies via Psychic Embrace. So there's a little interesting wrinkle to watch out for here. As you do see another Tachyon Bits onto that Gardevoir, so now it has 80 damage on it.
Oh, this is tough to navigate these final moments, but
isn't it?
With limited resources in hand, you do just have to play with what you've got. And at this stage, knocking out the active is the only available option. But Liam was close here to getting another Pokemon knocked out, only needing 3 prize cards. Taking that 2, we'll be left with 1. But there was nothing in range with 3 Iron Valiant available, and the Scream Tail will knock out the Squawkabilly. Tord is winning our first game on stream today. Round 3 starts off with Gardevoir EX beating Entei Iron Valiant.
Wow, and it's not something I expected to see, coming down to the matchup, because I have seen this matchup before getting played out at LAIC, and quite honestly, Iron Valiant run amok. But then maybe now that the meta game's developed a bit more, players sort of know the deck. It's not as much as a surprise as it was back then. Tord was able to operate his way to a win. But one thing I want to pick your brains on, Mike, and you guys viewers at home, do you think Liam might be a bit more aggressive with his Yoga Loop now?
Potentially. I think you do have to be so aggressive in this matchup. I think seeing the Medicham get knocked out as easy as it was the most accessible knockout on his board. Yeah. Now he's going to think, I need to get use out of this or not put it down at all.
Yes.
And the other thing to think about here is early turns. We might even see the turn 1 donk. With the Tachyon Bits.
Can happen.
This matchup is still in favour of Iron Valiant because you can have very quick games where you get through the whole board of a Gardevoir player quickly. So I don't think he's going to be too worried at this stage. No. But yeah, definitely hoping to be a bit more aggressive early on this next game.
And the good thing is, if you're playing Entei Valiant in this matchup, even if you are 1-0 down, chances are if you win, you're going to win quick. plenty of time for game 2 and 3. So, but you are 100% correct. Let's say you led Mysterious Tail Mew.
Yep.
And you haven't got anything else.
Yep.
It's my turn, and I just go tack bits, tachyon bits. It's like, right, are you going first or second? Game 3, my friend.
Yeah, so quick old game if that happens. And seeing the prize cards here. Again, nothing too crazy, but it could come back in the future. Maybe that boss's orders could be an interesting card.
Ooh.
But
Liam opted to go second.
Interesting. So maybe leaning into a multiple knockout with the...
Yeah.
And hoping that Godwa doesn't set up well.
Yep. If you're Liam, you're just praying that there's going to be no Battle VIP pass. If no Battle VIP pass comes down and Tord, ends the turn maybe 2 Volts or Volts and that Mew, this could be a very different game. But so far, if you're Liam, you're kind of relying or hoping that Tord doesn't have an explosive start.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But I think another thing to mention about the aggression early on from Entei Iron Valiant is it can be a quick fizzle out of the deck, right? So you almost have to lean into that and accept that the way you win this is going as aggressively as possible.
Yep.
I think last time we saw Liam trying not to fizzle out. He didn't want to overexert his resources. But actually, sometimes, especially against some of the best players in the world like Tord, you have to think they're going to get it if I take too long. I need to get that early aggression in to disrupt the board state.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I think in this matchup, you have to sort of don't let the game go on too long. If the game goes like 4 or 5 turns, the chances of you winning just drop. So you're going to have to just be super aggressive as Tord does take that Mysterious Tail Mew. This could be a big Mysterious Tail here. We need to find some sort of ball search. Battle VIP pass would be ideal. Oh,
ooh.
No, Mike.
That did not look good. I think it was a Super Rod and a counter catcher in there.
Yes.
And that's it.
And that's it. Now, Tord does have an Ultra Ball. So normally in this scenario, you would maybe go for the Radiant Greninja and start drawing cards. But that Radiant Greninja is prized, Mike. So
True.
There will be no more extra cards being drawn this turn.
Okay, and then also we'll see the discard with the Ultra Ball. We'll be able to get plenty of boards set up here to be able to survive into the next turn. But survival is not what Gardevoir wants right now. Gardevoir wants stability.
Yep.
And that's exactly what Entei Iron Valiant's going to be trying to remove. So we'll see that Ultra Ball going for a Ralts.
Yeah, I think it's got to be, but see, this is dicey, because what I mentioned before in the game 1 is that Mew has 60 HP. That's so much easier to turn 1 Yoga Loop, because that's only going to be 2 uses of Tachyon bits. And then, but by the time Tor gets another turn, he might only have 1 Ralts in play, because you can Yoga Loop the Mew, KO 1 Ralts, and now it's your turn 2, right?
We could see by looking at that Mysterious Tail, Tord was not happy. That was I needed a VIP pass there, otherwise this could be dicey.
And that is the nature of Battle VIP pass. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Now, right, can Liam capitalise on this slow start? Oh, yeah, we can't see that energy attached there because we did see 1 get discarded via retreat. As Liam top decks a Battle VIP pass, Mike. Liam off to the races.
That's exactly what you want to see. Looking through the deck now, making sure nothing too important is prized, has access to all the resources now to get a Yoga Loop off. And not only that, but an Iono in hand, Squawkabilly on board.
Yep.
Plenty of options to dig here. That double turbo energy will be probably the hardest component of that Yoga Loop turn 1 to get off. But outside of that, everything in favour here for Liam.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's going to be the crux, but then he said you do have Forest Soul Stone to grab it.
1 in hand, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay, yep. So has plenty of avenues as Liam is debating what to take this Battle VIP pass. Doesn't have much of a search in the hand. So probably will be seeing that the Squawkabilly being used immediately. If I had to guess, draw some extra cards, get that Magma Basin in play, and see what Liam can do.
Yeah, maybe an Iono before Squawkabilly. I'm not sure which order is better there, because you can guarantee hitting both a supporter for turn and the Squawkabilly if you use the supporter this side. But then also there is that fire energy in hand that if that gets discarded by the Squawkabilly, that could be beneficial too. So be interesting to see how he plays it. Obviously familiar with the deck, so we'll see what that looks like now. So Iron Valiant, that's going to be the first Tachyon bits.
And it's going into the Ralts, so 2 damage counters on that Ralts. As we looks like we are going to see the I know, being played by the looks of it.
Or was that Squawkabilly?
No, that's a Squawkabilly. Squawk and seize. Discard your hand, draw 6 cards. Can only use it if it's your first turn of the game. Right, Liam, show us what you've got.
Another Battle VIP pass.
Battle VIP pass. I see a switch. I see an escape rope, Mike. We're going to see Tachyon bits flying here, there, and everywhere. Damage counters. Watch out. They might be falling on your red rolls.
Look at all those switch outs too. So I think Yoga Loop very much in range here. And we're going to see 2 Iron Valiants come down. That will be able to Yoga Loop a Ralts, and then you can knock out the other routes afterwards.
And this is what I was terrified for toward there, not being able to get down multiple Ralts, is that there's a very good chance by the time it's towards next turn, he will have no Ralt in play.
At least he'll still be able to Mysterious Tail.
And you guarantee that would find a Battle VIP pass as well, right? Always the way. Come on, folks. Oh, I know you know that's true as well.
So the Forest Seal Stone still available. Might be needed for the energy. But as we mentioned about the supporter, I don't think there was a supporter off of that Squawk and Seize.
Oh, true.
Was there boss's orders maybe? But we'll see.
As we do see a switch, Tachyon bits might has 4 damage counters on that Ralts. There's another switch. There's 6 damage counters on that Ralts. 10 HP left. If we see the Yoga Loop, Liam will be able to take an immediate next turn.
Okay, so just debating here. Just going to go for that escape rope and put that Metachamp into the active. We'll likely go here with the Forest Seal and find that double turbo energy. So going to be relying a lot. Oh, going to go for a research, actually. Interesting.
Ooh, now this is it. I was about to say, if Liam does go for the Yoga Loop immediately off this double turbo energy search, he has to hope that his prize card that he takes is going to be good, because the rest of the cards in the hand weren't very good. Now, Liam going for the Professor's research here is saying, right, I really hope I draw into the DTE here, or maybe a way to use another Tachyon Bits activation. Both would be good. Yoga Loop would be ideal. 7 new cards for Liam, Mike. Are we going to see DTE?
This is a huge Professor's research. There it is! 2 of them!
Goodness!
My
Off the top.
goodness.
Sometimes it was just meant to be, baby. Yoga Loop turn 1.
And setting up the board for the rest of the turn. Magma Basin going down. That Entei is going to be able to knock out next turn 2. And off the back of that, we have seen the dream start for Iron Valiant. Yoga Loop turn 1 onto a Ralts. And it is now Liam's turn once again.
Yeah, so viewers, that was not a mistake. Liam does get to draw a new card and go straight back off to the races again. Does find himself a Chorus Experiment. Now, if you're Liam, you really want to try and carry that Ralt. Obviously, he has played the Chorus Experiment, so Boss won't be an option. But Escape Rope is, and I think he has one off that Chorus Experiment, Mike. This is a very different game to game 1.
Might even be able to completely wipe the board with the Valiants. If the Valiants take out the Mew.
Yeah, that is... do we see 3 uses of Tachyon Bits?
I think that's it. I think he's got enough switch outs, right? I see 3.
Rope.
And there's a tool attached to one of the Valiants.
I think you're right. I think this could be the game. Yeah, so we see switch cart into Tachyon Bits activation, 2 damage counters onto Mew. We're going to see a switch, 4 damage counters on the Mew. We're then going to see escape rope, promote the Ralts into this. That's going to free retreat Tachyon Bits, carry the Mew, burning Rondo, and that is game 2, Mike.
We said it was going to be fast. We said it was going to be in favour of Entei Iron Valiant, and that is exactly why. Those of you at home who'd opt to go first because you want to try and get that spicy turn 1 knockout with Tachyon Bits, that shows you exactly why going second is still so good. Liam coming through and showing a masterclass with Entei Iron Valiant.
Wow, that was like blink and you'll miss it. That, whoa, I'm stunned. I need to compose myself a little bit.
There's not many decks.
Masterclass.
Not many decks can do that. I mean, you've literally got 3 Pokemon in play on your first turn, and the opponent has completely wiped the board in their first and their second turn because they Yoga Looped.
Yeah, like, Tor just basically, what did he do that game? He level board out of Ralts, paid retreat into Mysterious Tail, failed that. And that was the game. Tor didn't take another action, I think.
That's it. That's the matchup.
Wow. And this is what I said. This is how I thought game 1 should have went. That aggressive. You can see immediately how much of a game changer that Yoga Loop is, because things can just get out of hand, as Tord said to us yesterday, actually, funnily enough. Celebi is his favourite Pokemon. That is his lucky Celebi. And I think he will be thinking, Celebi, do us a favour here. Get me out of this mess.
I mean, maybe asking Celebi to go back in time and find a new opponent with a different deck, because this is going to be tough. I mean, it is one of the toughest matchups of Gardevoir, and it's one of those that is not that common. Such a small percentage of this room. But when you do come across it, it's moments like this that show you why. I mean, Entei Iron Valiant, as a deck, if it does what it wants to do, can take out a lot of the Formex. There's a lot of 70 HP, 80 HP Pokemon out there that can be Yoga Loop, that can be early knocked out with Tachyon Bits. So fair play to Liam coming into this event with a deck that is placed quite nicely in the format.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit the right matchups, Charizard, you know, any lower HP Pokemon, so like Ralts as well, you can have a very fun time. And you could even run the gambit against the higher HP stuff. You can just use Tachyon Bits and then have your Entei come and swing in and even up that way. But we are going to be here in our Game 3, Round 3 at Liverpool Regionals. Looking at both players' prizes, not the most impactful, I think, as it looks like Liam... has Tord let Liam go first? Interesting.
I think so, yeah.
Not something you see every day.
But it seems to be a Battle VIP pass there for Tord. So both sides going to be having that optimal first-hand card with Battle VIP pass. Allows you to go into your deck and find any 2 basic Pokemon, but only works in your first turn of the game.
And some games just are just decided by, you know, if you find Battle VIP pass, right? Like we saw Tord did not get the Battle VIP pass last game, and then Liam was able to shut the doors quick. And let's see if Tord will be able to play a supporter now this time, so we'll be able to hopefully get himself a Battle VIP pass, as Liam is debating on what to have, what to grab, I should say. We see an Entei potentially, could be seeing a Squawk ability. We saw that last game being used, that Squawk and Seize, letting you grab an extra 6 cards on your first turn, and discard your hand, which in a deck like this that relies on Magma Basin, Mike, discarding as fire energy is often the aim of the game. Yeah,
so you can get Magma Basins going. I mean, a lot of decks right now want to discard energy. It's quite a fun part of the format.
It's like a little mini game.
Yeah. See how many energy you can get in there. Some decks you don't want to put too much energy in there, just in case.
Yeah.
And then a lot of Super Rod about because of it.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, this deck with the Entei Iron Valiant only needs to get 1 attachment off per turn, really, with the Magma Basin, and you've got a strong Pokemon in Entei ready to start swinging. And there we go, there's that Magma Basin, but not too many resources in that first hand for Liam, and that's why you'd rather go second, because you can have those explosive turns, Squawk and Seize, supporter for turn, but 2 Battle VIP pass.
Yeah, so Tord said, how about this? So you have had the greatest start. How about I don't have 1 Battle VIP pass? I've got 2. All the parties and the VIPs are on Tord's side of the board right now. Everyone is welcome. Ralts is welcome. Jirachi is welcome. Anyone. Mew, you're welcome as well. Get them all in play. Wait, is that a third? Oh, no, that's the second. I thought he had a third then. I was about to fall off my chair.
Well, you got the Mew and the Manaphy in the hand there. So opting to put the Radiant Greninja down, one of the more hardy Pokemon, lots more hit points.
Yeah, true.
Able to survive the Iron Valiants. There we go.
Look at that.
Good airtime on that Battle VIP pass to hit the table.
That landed really well as well. So, interesting, Mike. Now, in Game 1, we saw Tord had many opportunities to get out the Jirachi, opted not to. This time, Tord immediately put the Jirachi down. How do you think that's going to affect this game 2, knowing that Yoga Loop is going to be a lot harder?
I mean, with a slower start, Tord has recognised the Jirachi is going to be way more important now, because in order to get through the Jirachi and set up a Yoga Loop, you have to put lots of those Tachyon Bits damage counters on the Jirachi itself, which will take away from the Ralts, which have been targeted previously. So we'll allow those Ralts to stick around for longer, only allow 1 of them to be knocked out per turn, or require a lot of Tachyon Bits to be going. And I think at this stage, Liam will probably even just ignore the Jirachi, because needs to try and put those Tachyon Bits on the more important targets.
Yeah, it's interesting, because like you said, if you're having to pile all your Tachyon Bits into Jirachi, that means you're letting Tord evolve up into Curly and Gardevoir, potentially without damage, which is kind of what you need to be doing as well. As Tord does use conceal cards there, discard a base, and energy from your hand, I should say, to draw 2.
Has that rare candy for next turn, but I guess wondering whether it's worth holding on to this. Is there a way to get rid?
His hand isn't actually too great. No ball search in there.
Yeah, that's true. Could be relying a little bit on the top deck next turn. It's all well and good having those Battle VIP passes, but if you're not ready to go next turn, I think only the rare candy Gardevoir EX there, but it's not much use if you can't do anything else with the board.
No, and you need to have energy and discard pile as well, realistically, as Liam does start off the turn over top deck, and then what's the ability called? Fleet-footed, there it is, and then a Chorus Experiment as well. Not the greatest of cards there. Yeah, Heavy Ball, and Escape Rope, a Fire Energy, and Entei. opting to take them, and then going to Lost Zone, the Battle VIP pass, and the Hisuian heavy ball.
Yeah, nice easy picks there on that Chorus.
I think so.
Yeah, Battle VIP pass, an easy Chorus decision.
Yep.
Heavy ball, when you know there's nothing too worrying in the prizes, can be nice and simple. Only the Iron Valiant in there that could have been possible, but yeah, looking to just attack with the Entei and keep the aggression on that way. But this will put the Mew into the active, which gives more options to Tord. Level ball off the top, and is going to have the ability to look at the top 6 cards and find any item there. So out here to start drawing.
As Tord does going to grab that Refinement Curly. I love that pre-release artwork as well from Silver Tempest. A gorgeous looking card. And yep, this Tord's just going to be, you know, work as usual here. He's going to start using Refinement, and then, you know, going to use that Mysterious Tail. You know, we could even see a Mirage step. No, probably not. Actually, not much bench space for that. But this is... We haven't even seen a Tachyon Bits activation yet, Mike.
No, just no switch cards for Liam. Really struggling to find them. Maybe waiting for that right turn to use them. But yeah, at this stage, Liam taking it slower, just relying on the strong knockout potential of that Entei and keep swinging through the active.
Now, I guess one thing we'll have to keep our eye on here, even though Tord is definitely in the driver's seat, I would say right now, time is ticking. Gardevoir does not win games fast, so both players motivated to win this game as much as possible. So we'll have to keep an eye, as Gardevoir does have a lot of decisions and things like this that need to be made. And we do see an Ultra Ball off the top there from the Mysterious Tail activation. Not the one you really want to see this early on, but it lets you grab any Pokemon from your deck.
Yeah, and potentially looking to get... I mean, could get a Shiny Arcana Gardevoir here in Rare Candy into play, but might just look to set up the refinements. Could, in theory, get the reverse energy going, but without the ability to get both Gardevoirs in play, it's not really going to be possible. And knowing there's no damage on the board, I think you're pretty safe right now from lots of your Gardevoir line getting knocked out. So going down the slower route here via the Curliers might be pretty safe compared to the last few games. Yeah, and also protects you against TM via Devolution as well, which is always nice. As Tord does have, how many, 2 energy in the discard pile, so we're not going to see like a Miracle Force, which would actually be a really nice attack if it actually KO'd the Entei, but it only does 190, as we do see the Gardevoir EX come down there via Rare Candy, and I think we're going to see are we going to see a pass then, or...? Well, we spoke a little bit before about Gardevoir EX being used to knock out Squawkabillies. Yeah. And you noticed how Liam opted for a slower start this game by not going for a Squawkabilly. Yeah. Smart from him to not put any liabilities for those potential early attacks coming through. But we'll just be attacking with the Gardevoir EX, and that's going to put 190 damage onto the Entei, and we'll put it in range of something like a Scream Tail maybe later on to finish off. Now... going over to Liam, TM Devolution might not actually be a bad player, because it would, if you can get one use of Tachyon Bits, you would actually KO the active rolls. But then again, and then you'd actually de-evolve both the Curlier, so you'd force a Rare Candy for Tord to actually start attacking next turn. We do see an Escape Rope being played, Tord promotes the Mew. Liam is going to finally get to start using Tachyon Bits, Mike. Yeah, that's quite fun, actually. I hadn't thought about the TM Devolution right here, but the question is, can you find it? And you look at that hand. You know, not a huge amount available straight away, just a few switch outs, but then I think there's an Ino at the bottom, so maybe able to reset the hand. Could be interesting. Okay. As we do see another Tachyon Bits there for Liam. This is going to go onto one of the Curlier. Oh, throwing cards around. There's not a lot going on in that hand at all, is there? No, but can switch into a new Entei, in theory, after... oh no, but you need another energy in the discard for that Magma Basin, so we'll have to go back into the damaged one. So no new Fleet-footed off of that, I think. But we'll be playing the Research. Oh, there was a Research at the bottom there too. So we'll see 7 cards. A Forest Seal Stone or a Devolution here. You're right, that could be a very cheeky way to disrupt the board state. Oh, I don't think I saw any of those pieces there. None of those pieces. Fleet-footed. Could have come in the clutch there. We're going to see Nest Ball, but no, I don't see a Forest Seal Stone. I do not see that TM Devolution as well. A TM Devolution is an attack. It's a tool card, I should say, that you attach to one of your Pokemon, and then that Pokemon gets the attack Devolution for 1 colorless energy. Let you de-evolve all your opponent's Pokemon, putting the highest stage back into their hand. Really impactful if your opponent relies on Rare Candy, since if you put enough damage onto where it would KO the basic underneath, you actually take that KO as well. I mean, you got the Magma Basin and the Switch here. You could go in for one more Fleet-footed. Could have another little dig, see if you find that Forest Seal. And I guess you could always just leave it in the active if you like as well, since it has got 2 energy on. Yeah. So I think going for that could be a bit of a reach, but it might be the right thing to do here. See if we can get that early aggression with the Devolution or a Forest Seal, but it's actually just going to knock out the Jirachi. So now Jirachi gone. That means Yoga Loop in future turns is available.
It is.
And we'll see what Tord can do here to build up the board into a more stable position.
Yeah, it's interesting. Liam has actually taken 2 prize cards here, so he is on his march to victory, although the board state would probably heavily favour Tord. Still has to, really wants to try and start taking care of his real fast here. I mean, he did leave the, damage enter in the active, so he'll be taking at least 2 prize cards this turn. But, yeah, Tord just wants to start trying to take prize, I think, as soon as possible.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, taking away options is always key here. And of course, as the prize cards go up for Liam and he starts to get more affected by Iono, it could turn into a turn where Tord Ionos him into pretty much nothing. So getting rid of immediate attackers like the Entei could be key.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like we saw in the game 1 where you Iono plus that Zacian, that was just, piling on damage. It could just be too much for Liam to ask for. Liam does have the Forest Seal Stone available to him this game, though, so that could be a get out of jail free card if he manages to find it at the right time. Okay,
so we see that the hand here looking to just evolve another Curlier into a Gardevoir EX. You mentioned about the Devolution. That one now is another potential target for it.
I wonder if Tord's going to Ultra Ball to grab the Shining Arcana. This could be a good turn for her.
Does get rid of Counter Catcher, which is a bit concerning.
True, but then, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I think we'll see, we'll see.
Oh, yeah, we do see it being played. Ultra Ball for the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. So you get another 2 cards this turn as well. So, with the Iono and then the Shining Arcana, you have 8 cards in your hand in theory. Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting game here. We had the first game where Gardevoir set up well and the Entei Iron Valiant wasn't quite disruptive enough. And we're now in a game 3, after Liam had a quick Entei Iron Valiant dismantling. Yeah. So now we're seeing a sort of slower game from both sides where they're kind of taking their time, navigating the matchup, trying to get themselves out of range of the other attackers' strengths, as we see 2 Gardevoir EX in play for Tord, and we see no liabilities on the board for Liam with Squawkabilly gone. So in that hand there, Devolution, Radiant Charizard, Fire Energy, Battle VIP Pass, not ideal for Liam, but there is some options.
Yeah, we'd have loved to see the TM Devolution last turn. Tord debating whether to attach that energy after Shining Arcana there, chooses to. So that's energy on the Gardevoir that hasn't taken without putting damage on, which can be really impactful in a ton of matchups. As Tord has things to do there, has the Fog Crystal. Counter Catcher is going to attach that. That's 2 energy on now for that Gardevoir. So reversal energy is going to be really impactful. We can find it as well. Going to see a Miracle Force KO on the Entei. Tord takes his first 2 prize cards of the game, and it's over to Leo.
I wonder how much Tord is just leaning into that Iono and hoping that that's enough.
Yeah.
That's the disruption that is needed.
I think he just wants to try and repeat that game 1, like you said, right? Have that Zacian coming in, dealing heavy damage, Iono, and just hope that Leo just has to sit there and absorb that damage. Because, if you're taking 1 shot, you can't really do that too often, absorb that damage. As we are going to see that Radiant Charizard come down, that Excited Heart ability, reducing the attack cost of Combustion Blast by 1 colorless for each prize card your opponent has taken.
Okay, so going to put that in the active.
Is this going to be a Devolution turn?
Okay, there it is. Okay, so the Devolution has happened. And interesting thing about this is it actually brings back more draw for Tord as the Refinement Curliers become available and all those evolution options going into hand. So an interesting turn, does get the prize card from it, but sets up Tord to be able to continue his game plan of drawing lots of cards and disrupting Liam even more.
So, Tord, if Tord can take 2 prize cards this turn, he can really win this game, right? If all you can do, you just Counter Catcher, take 2 prize cards, and then you do the exact same thing next turn, you can definitely win. Because Liam's on 3 prize cards, so Liam cannot win next turn, right? Liam cannot shut the door on Tord just going 2 prize cards, 2 prize cards. So in order to do that, Tord would probably have to one-shot a 2 prize Pokemon this turn. Miracle Force can Miracle Force take the KO on that Entei with 2 damage?
I don't think it can.
No, it can, so you are going to have to be using the Zacian.
Yeah, it will be 210 damage that will be needed.
Yes.
So reversal energy plus the 2 attachments.
Oh, true, yeah.
I believe that would be enough, but you've got to find that reversal energy. We've got the Counter Catcher available, so we've got some draws to go through as well. So, the deck looks reasonably thick right now, but it will quickly narrow down as the draws occur here for Tord. But yeah, reverse energy activation from that last knockout will put Tord into range to be able to knock out with no damage on a Shiny Arcana.
Which is really awkward to deal with. 140 HP Pokemon that is just tearing holes in your Pokemon. As we are going to see refinement there. As we do find that reversal energy, Mike, as we mentioned, we do see obviously the Shining Arcana is in hand from the TM Devolution. Was it Shining Arcana activation? Look at the top 2 cards, put them in your hand. Any energy you can put, you can attach them to the Pokemon as well. Has a staging replacement to make that Magma Basin, well, less effective.
Oh yeah.
Super Rock can get back the Jirachi as well.
Oh wow, and the Radiant Greninja and the Zacian as well. You know, there's the options that are coming through here, just going up and up. Like we said, the moment that the devolution came through, the draw power just went up drastically.
Yeah.
And really set up the opportunity here for Tord to go ahead and stay ahead. And that Entei knockout would leave just the Radiant Charizard as an option. But again, no draw engine, a limited hand size. We know that the hand hasn't got much going on. Yeah. Tough here for Liam.
As we do see the refinement being played there, level ball. As Tord draws into Professor's Research, not a card you'd see terribly often actually in Gardevoir, but Tord opting to play it. As we do find that Jirachi as well immediately, so closing the door to any Yoga Loop shenanigans, which is always nice. And let's see, what can Tord do here? Well, I think does have a counter catcher in hand, so we'll be able to KO a 2-prize Pokemon this turn.
Yeah, it had that from the start, so
yeah,
it's definitely playing around that. Just going to be, before shuffling the deck there, just going to be going and checking the options. We'll be thinking through, like, how many draws do I need to hit all the bits I need? There is stuff in hand now, but it's thinking a turn ahead, and that's what separates these top players from the rest.
For sure.
They're thinking more than just the current turn. What's the current best option to do? They're thinking, what's the best option to do to win me the game in X amount of turns?
And then when you're playing a deck that draws raw cards, you really need to try and work out your probabilities, right? Like, if I need to hit this, I've got 2 ways of doing this turn. You know, how can I maximize my odds? And one thing you actually have to be careful of here is decking yourself out. You think, maybe I don't have to draw as many cards this turn. I can save them all for the turn where I need to gust again and try and close the game out.
Yep, so we got the Gardevoir EX in play. We know that there is a Zacian in deck, so that's an option to finish the game.
Yep.
But we'll need to take something out that is a 2-prizer to finish the game on that side. And for Liam, it's really going to rely a lot on that top deck. No Fleet-Footed will be available, so you know there's a lot to think about there, and then a Radiant Greninja as well. Yeah,
fighting it all, and I really want to pay attention to Tord playing that Ultra Ball, just removing cards from the deck, so any Iono that Liam plays, you're reducing the bad cards that you want to draw into, right, from Tord. And like you said, it's those little micro decisions that can really add up over the course of 9 rounds.
Yeah, well, we've all been there. We go, oh, I got so unlucky after the Roxanne or the Iono, and then actually you look back and you work out the cards you could have thinned led you to probably being unlucky. So
exactly that.
Doing everything in his power to make sure he set up, and he see barely any cards left in that deck.
Basically said, no matter what, with all the draw power on board, I should be able to see my whole deck. Could even start playing, I think there's a Super deck, could play that just to get it out of the hand as well.
I think left just the Zacian and another card in those last 2 cards in deck, so an Iono would literally give him the card he needs to potentially win.
Yeah, as we are going to see that Brainwave there for KO on the Entei, and it's over to Liam. Let's see what he can do. And this is the strange thing about Gardevoir. You have to really realistically deal with that Gardevoir that's swinging, but you don't really want to. That's 1 prize. That doesn't help you. Wow, that hand, Mike.
Yeah, not much going on. Battle VIP pass might be great early on, but if you start seeing at this stage, especially with little to no draw engine available, you are going to be just attacking, and that is not what you want to see if you're Liam. Now is just sat in a position where everything is in Tord's favour. If Tord has availability to that bench, we mentioned Boss's Orders
just
being a prize card earlier on.
Yeah, it's in the hand now, so we just see that Zacian V, so all we're going to do now is just Psychic Embrace, a ton of engines to the Zacian, KO and Iron Valiant, and Tord Reklev wins our round 3 feature match here at the Liverpool Regionals, Mike.
Round